Welcome to Tea with Tori. I'm your host, Tori, and today the tea is hot. What's up, spillers? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to a new episode of Tea with Tori. I am your host, Tori, and today I have a very special guest. I have Megan.
Hi.
Megan, please tell the people who you are, what you do, what makes you special.
Hi, my name is Megan. I own a crystal company, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner.
So how did you get into that?
Honestly, my whole entire life, I was always the girl that was like playing in the forest, digging in rocks, playing with bugs. So it was something that really just I grew up with. And I remember receiving my first rock collection. And since then, it was just something that I've always collected. About 7 years ago, I decided to just start the company out of, a complete whim. The name of the company came to me, and literally that next day I filed for my business license, and the rest is history.
Wild.
Yeah.
How, was that tough for you in the beginning, or did it, kind of come naturally?
It honestly came naturally to me. I think what the confusing part was all of the information that I was receiving, intuitively, it all came very quickly. And, before I even, started to think about who I wanted to bring on to the company, I had my business name. I already got my Instagram. I had concepts already made up in my head. Then I decided to bring on my older sister to be a part of the company. She does have an accounting background, and I was like, that's perfect. She can handle all of the back end, and along with helping the creative side as well. And when we collaborated together, it literally just flourished from there, and it became to, what the business is today.
So you sell on Etsy, right?
We do, yes.
What made you choose Etsy and not Shopify?
Mainly because Etsy at the time, they do have a lower rate as far as sellers fees. And also, too, they do provide essentially free marketing because, when you're searching through Etsy, you can pull up all the different products. They are for more independent sellers, which that definitely resonated with me. And it just seemed to work. We decided not to even make a full-on website for the reason that Etsy really provided a lot of tools that took care of everything.
So what was your first step in creating the entire business other than filing for your business license?
Getting the product. It's funny because at the time when, I was getting product, I actually was first starting to buy crystals from Amazon of all places. And back then, crystals weren't super popular like they were now.
Yeah.
And I was, buying crystals for $3-4 online. And they were the aura quartz or aura amethyst, which are the ones that look very rainbow-like. Mm-hmm. They're coated with gold, silver, platinum. And it was something very new in the crystal community. So I was like, I have to have those. And once we put those out there, we actually went viral on Pinterest with some of the crystals because, people really didn't see that before. And it was something that very select crystal companies had. And from that, we blew up.
Where would you say most of your marketing comes from?
Honestly, a lot of it is from collaborations. From the very beginning, I had to brainstorm ideas of how to, really get my company out there. And we didn't have we never, used any credit cards or funding for our company. Mm-hmm. And it was just, something that we started in our kitchen type of thing. And from collaborations, once we decided to team up with, celebrities or people that did have a lot of influence on social media, that's really what made our company.
That's awesome. So how has it been for you working with family?
So working with family, it's been an absolutely amazing experience. We definitely do have, there are times that, we would fight about things or disagree with things. And, of course, that really just built our relationship because not only did I have to separate, her being my sister, but I had to separate her being my business partner. And we really tried to not, mesh that together. And we really wanted to keep that separately because I think, you always hear like, oh, never get in business with your family. But I think if you are able to, put each part aside, I think it can be a successful business.
100%. I definitely have done business with like family, friends. Like I would like much rather pay someone that I know to do something, especially if they're really good at it, than like someone I don't know. Because I feel like that's just like you spend so much time working together that I would just rather work with someone that I like and want to spend that much time with.
Yeah, and absolutely. And, her like being my older sister, she was someone that I really trusted. And, she had a lot of good information that, especially like with the financials of things that I would never even think about. So I was so grateful that I was able to bring her on to the company. And, it's something that I definitely don't regret.
So what was your side hustle when you were putting this all together?
So it's funny because like right after high school, I went to school to be a medical assistant and an OR technician. And immediately after school, I went into the plastic surgery field. It's kind of funny, like complete opposite, like, plastic
Literally.
surgery and like crystals. And, along, working in that field, like I realized like that is something that it wasn't really my passion. It definitely brought in good income. I learned a lot, but over the years, it was just something that I was not passionate about. And my passion definitely lied in the crystals. And, it took me a while to learn that. And, it was always something that it was more about stability for me, having that career. I always knew that the medical field was going to be there for me. And, being a new entrepreneur, it was very scary to be like, okay, I'm going to go full force in this and completely let go of a career that I went to college for and I had a degree in and, I was making great money into something that, okay, well, am I going to make it with this? So that was something that was really hard.
What did your family think about this switch up?
Honestly, my family was so supportive.
That's amazing. You don't hear that often.
Yeah, you definitely don't. And, my mom was like always there for me and bless you.
Thank you.
My mom definitely was like our number one cheerleader during this. And, she always like tells me like, I just want you happy. And she saw that the crystal company did make both of us happy. My sister still does work in the professional field as a senior accountant. And that is something that she loves to do.
Amazing. What was the first time that you like kind of fell on your ass with it? That you were like, damn.
I would say I'll have to think about that. I honestly have to say when I was going through some like personal stuff and I wasn't really dedicating a lot of time onto the business. And from that, I did see a lot of things lacking. And there were a few years that I had to take a break from it and really just like focus on my mental health and just kind of like reassess things of, where I was going in life. And I was still working the career during that time. And during those few years, it actually happened during COVID, that I really had time to sit down, think to myself and be like, okay, Megan, this is not what you want to do as far as a medical career. Like you need to refocus yourself and really focus on your crystal business. And from there, like I really invested a lot of my time and like then I like switched into being like a Reiki practitioner, going into more like holistic, which that is where my passion lies.
So how did you become a Reiki practitioner?
So I was going to these meditation classes near where I lived, and the woman that teaches the class, it's her daughter and herself. She's a master Reiki teacher.
Amazing.
She really, what caught my attention was getting Reiki on myself. I've had several Reiki sessions, and I was always very drawn to it. And I felt like something that is what resonated with me, just really helping like realign your chakras and kind of just like harmonizing and balancing your energy. And that was a tool that helped me during that time that I took those 2 years to kind of just find myself. So that's why I wanted to become a Reiki practitioner.
That's amazing. Do you see yourself getting into any other fields involving that?
Absolutely. I'm kind of, actually yesterday I was kind of like researching more plant medicine, and tying into like, maybe starting like a whole like holistic practice, doing retreats, sound healing, plant medicine. So that is something long term that I do want to do.
That's amazing. You already built like such a platform of people that like that's what they're about as well.
Yes.
I feel like that would go really well for you.
Thank you.
Definitely. So what type of retreats have you been on?
So I have been on an ayahuasca retreat. I've done cacao ceremonies, meditations. Just got back from a retreat this past weekend in Joshua Tree.
What has been your favorite one and why?
Definitely ayahuasca. Ayahuasca was life-changing for me. They always say that you're meant to do it when it's called to you. And during that time, like, it was really when I was still going through that few years trying to find myself. And it happened so that it was in December. And I really just felt the need to do it. And the opportunity just was laid down in my lap, and I made sure that I signed up the second that it was offered. But that was definitely life-changing for me.
I want to do it so bad.
You should. It seems like you're very called to it, so I definitely would.
Oh, hell yeah. Have you done DMT?
I have not, just with the ayahuasca you do get that DMT experience for sure. I want to though.
Have you had an ego death?
Absolutely. During ayahuasca.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I feel like it's like so super intense.
It is.
Did you throw up a lot?
It's funny, like I did not.
Really?
Going into ayahuasca, you always hear about people
puking their brains out.
Like shitting, like making it seem like it was such a horrible experience. I'm telling you, my body literally laid there lifeless, and I was like astral projecting. Like I saw my soul left my body, and I didn't throw up until the shaman like announced that the medicine window was closed. So I like got up just to use the bathroom. I didn't have to like shit or anything. I just had to go pee. Once I got up though, I felt a little dizzy, and then I puked. But how ironic, when the shaman was like, okay, windows close, that's when I released all those toxins.
Literally. That's what a lot of people have said, actually. Like they like puked while they were like walking literally back to like wherever they were staying.
Absolutely. Like it's funny because it's like you can still hear what's going on around you, and so many people were throwing up like crazy. And at first I was like, well, why am I not throwing up? I'm like doing something wrong. No, it's just that like my soul was in a completely different place, and it was definitely not in this dimension. That's for sure.
You're like, I was somewhere else.
I definitely was.
I feel like the first time that I ever saw, this is so creepy and terrible, but the first time I ever saw astral projection was in Insidious, the movie.
Yeah.
Where I was like, that's what that is? And I was like, I've done that before, and now I'm scared to do that.
I do it quite a bit. Like, in like you could actually teach yourself to astral project. It was something that I started doing when I was a kid, believe it or not. And I'm like, what is going on? But now it's like I can do it in like meditations, and then of course the ayahuasca experience. And even when I dream too, that's something that I can do.
Have you seen the new Doctor Strange movie?
I have not.
It's crazy because in it, they're like, when you're dreaming, your dream self is just you dreaming, is just you like having a real time picture of what's happening to a multiversal version of yourself.
See, very similar to like Inception.
Yeah.
Like that, like, that movie I definitely like connected with, especially with like your dream state. And, that was something that happens in astral projection.
You get trapped in it?
You can. They do say that like you are supposed to have like something comforting to like come back to reality, because you possibly could. I haven't felt that, but there were things that I would like make sure like I would touch my like what I was wearing, or like, you know, reaching for like a glass of water or something, that it would kind of like bring me back to reality.
That's wild. I feel like people have definitely gotten stuck.
Oh, I'm sure.
That would be so scary. I feel like Insidious definitely affected me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a demon would definitely trap your soul and like try to inhabit your body, potentially. I mean, you can't.
It happens. Yeah.
I believe in like all that shit. Like, I believe in aliens. I believe in like exorcisms, all of it.
Absolutely. You already know that I do. Like, that's
literally. I was like watching Instagram. I'm like, what is this alien documentary? I'm like, of course it's Megan. Yeah. Of course it's Megan, literally.
I definitely have an obsession with aliens. You know, I'm just ready for them to come on this earth and abduct me. I'm ready for that.
Like at any moment.
Any moment.
I'm prepared.
I'm ready.
I feel like I potentially have been abducted.
Me too. When I was 12. Trust
what
me.
Makes you think that you were abducted?
At the time, I was living in Washington, and this was like my first time that I had my own bedroom. My younger sister and I would always share bedrooms. And I remember one night there was an extremely loud crash or like boom outside in the middle of the night with a flashing light, like so bright. And it's almost like the lights were shining like right
on
in my
at
room.
Night.
And I remember like getting up, and I walked to my sister's room and then my parents' room to see if they were awake. I'm like, okay, well, fuck, like this was so fucking loud. Like, did they hear that? No, they were completely sound asleep. And I'm like, okay, walk back into my room, lay back down. And then the next thing I know is like I was completely out, and then I wake up in the next morning. And ever since that moment, I have felt so connected to extraterrestrials that I always remember like telling my mom, I'm like, I swear to you, like I, you know, was abducted. I'm very connected with them. And it wasn't until recently when I was getting some of my Reiki sessions that I was channeling extraterrestrials.
No
and
way.
They would come to me. And we all have spirit guides, you know, guardian angels. And I know who each of my spirit guides are, and extraterrestrials happen to be one.
How do you find out?
So, you know, with a lot of meditation or doing Reiki sessions, they will honestly, you know, show themselves, and you'll get messages from them. And what I recommend to people is just really meditate, or like even with dreams, like write down your dreams. You'll start seeing patterns by things. Or even too, like if, you know, like something traumatic happens, a lot of times your spirit guides will come to surface, and they'll be there for you to, you know, you'll know that they're there. But more specifically with the Reiki sessions is where all of them have come to me.
See, like, I definitely get messages and pay attention to them and follow them, but I have not gotten to the point of them revealing themselves and who they are. Like,
I think it's time for you to get a Reiki session.
Hell yeah, I want to do that, because I've done past life regressions. I believe in star seeds, like all that stuff. So I feel like that's definitely something that I would be like, oh shit, there you are. I thought that was you.
Yeah, and I think you'll be like, a lot of people are really surprised who their spirit guides are. Like, I've even had so many confirmations from other, like, you know, spiritual healers that these are my spirit guides. The extraterrestrials is something definitely a little bit different. Not a lot of people do, you know, get that opportunity. You know, you always hear about these, like, forgot her name, but she's really famous on like TikTok and social media, that she understands light language, which is essentially like extraterrestrial language. It's absolutely beautiful. I'd have to send you her name.
Yeah, that sounds insane.
But she speaks the language, and she receives all these messages through her meditations and her dreams.
That's insane. I feel like you have to smoke less weed for that to happen.
Absolutely. I mean, especially like I don't like now I don't because I'm a very vivid dreamer, I don't like to smoke
Before bed?
before bed. Because it, it inhibits dreams. Like it's something that, you're not able to fully get into your REM sleep cycle, so you're not able to access like your deeper subconscious when dreaming.
That makes sense. Keeps you kind of topical.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's what you do, like a deep dive if you like take shrooms and go to sleep.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny, like when I take shrooms, like I'm not able to go to sleep at all.
No, it's so hard. I have to be like exhausted or I have to be high as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I can't just like take shrooms and go to sleep.
I'm like up for hours or like all night.
Literally like thinking about things and like giggling at random fucking shit. That's just like doesn't matter, and then crying about something and then giggling all over again.
Absolutely.
And laughing at myself for crying about something that I'm like, why are you even crying about that?
You're like, why am I crying?
Literally.
Trust me, that's how I am too.
All the time. I'll be like, I'm laughing. Why are my eyes watering? I don't get it. That's why I feel like the 70s, like that was a good ass time. That's before they started like putting weird shit in drugs like fentanyl and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely,
Like imagine growing up with like Woodstock.
That I feel like that was my time. Like I would have thrived during that time. Like I would have been those hippies with like my shirt off, long hair,
literally
just like smoking blunts. You know what I mean?
All day, just bell bottoms and no shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Full dude.
Dancing naked in the forest.
Yes.
Like that would be that's my vibe.
That's why I like A24 movies. They incorporate like so much witchcraft and like ritual stuff into their horror movies, and then you're like, oh, but that's actually terrifying.
Yeah.
Have you watched like Hereditary or Midsummer?
Midsummer, definitely. That was
so good.
So good.
I was like, this is like the first time I'm seeing a movie depict what like an actual shroom trip is like.
Yeah.
Because usually they do like some weird ass shit. Like it's just like that's not what it's like. That's good try, but like not even close. That I'm like the trees are like breathing, like kaleidoscopes in the sky. I was like, oh my goodness. I feel like I'm on shrooms. I want to watch this movie on shrooms.
That is so funny. Something that a movie that I watched recently on shrooms was Alice in Wonderland. And
did it trip you out?
So trippy. Specifically the second one. The first one was okay, cool. Mm-hmm. But the second one, I was tripping. Like, I was like, this is scary. This is amazing. Like, so many different emotions like went through my head. But that was a great movie to watch it on.
Rick and Morty on shrooms.
Oh, Rick and Morty. I mean, I watched that like even without shrooms.
Oh, no, but I watched it so many times that I was like, how can I watch it again and still be entertained? I was like, I'm going to do it on shrooms. It was wild. It was the stuff that I like realized was happening. I was like, how did I not catch this before?
Well, I mean, a lot of their information, like, it's so true. Like people don't even realize like a lot of their information, it's legit.
Have you watched Inside Job?
Yes.
Oh my god, that shit had me
it's so
fucked
funny.
up. I was like, this shit is real, bro. Like, that they're sacrificing goats for the Tao. Like, that.
I'm definitely like into conspiracy theories.
So I'm so into conspiracy theories.
I had to watch Inside Job for that reason.
Dude, I rabbit holed on the Jeffrey Epstein situation during COVID. I was so deep into it. I was like, they're reptilians and there's a spaceship there.
Yeah. Well, during, it's interesting that you say that because during the time that was happening and during COVID, there was actually like a window that Google was unfiltered. Mm-hmm. And I found that out. I was like, okay,
that makes sense.
Now it's time to like go really dig deep. And, it was crazy like seeing like the photos, like the videos that were coming to surface. Like, it was meant for some of us to be staying home in bed and like learning about this stuff.
Literally.
To, as a collective, be more woke about these situations.
The parallel universe shit that came out.
Yes.
That then like no one talked about again.
Or even too, like during the COVID when they were putting up the 5G towers.
Yep.
That day was actually the day that they released the video of the UFOs. That was the first time that the government released it to the public. Nobody was talking about that.
Literally.
Nobody.
I feel like because it's like so they already say that like we kind of get brainwashed through media,
Yeah.
and aliens are so prevalent in like movies and TV shows and so many things that I feel like people are just like, duh.
Yeah.
Like, duh, there's aliens. Like, you're telling us this now? Like, that's like being like, Megan, you have a nose. Okay.
But I definitely think there's a lot of people out there that are still like, they're not accepting
No, 100%.
of it. I know that they like, when they released that, the government like released that document. Did you read any of that when it talked about like the UFOs, astral projection? It really dug deep into a lot of these topics, and still, a lot of people weren't really talking about it.
I feel like it's also the type of thing where like not everyone's going to
Understand.
Yeah, like you can only meet people like as far as they've met themselves. So like
Absolutely.
you're not even going to you're not even going to look that up if you're not looking that up. You're not going to find that unless you're like trying to. They definitely weren't making it mainstream enough or like available enough. Like it never trended on social media. They never
Absolutely.
let that happen. They were just like, listen, if y'all really want to know and you're looking, we have this information. Possibly.
Yeah.
If you want to read a super long document, we got you.
Trust me, I was one of those people.
I definitely didn't read all of it, but I read some of it and I was like, wow, they're really exposing.
Yeah.
They went there. They took it there.
I think it's good that they did though.
There's like so many things that I'm like, how are these things not mandatory? Like you say you read the four agreements when you were like young as fuck. Like why is this not a book that like you have to read when you're younger? Why like do we not have school for like how to make yourself a good person? Like
Absolutely.
human decency, like 10 commandments type shit. Like where is that training? We just like are kind of made into like robots to figure out how we can like make the most money.
Absolutely. Or even like teaching like meditation, at a young age. Like I think that is something that would be very beneficial, especially like later in life. Like it teaches you a lot of things, especially patience, which trust me, a lot of people don't have.
No, so many people don't have patience. We're in such like a time of instant gratification. It's insane. It's wild. Like you can literally get anything from your phone, especially now after COVID. Like you can literally get anything from your phone and sit on your ass all day. It's a trap.
It really is. And, it's funny because today I was reading, something came up on my phone that it talked about how social media and, media in general is really just something that affects your own like personal energy, and it drains your energy. And, for me, like I definitely try to like limit my time on social media. And it's something that over the years, like I've definitely backed up on because, especially like Instagram, like it can affect self-esteem and, maybe cause jealousy or relationship problems. And that's something that, it really stuck with me, and it does drain your energy.
No, it super does. And it sucks because like that's not really a detachment I can make because anytime I'm not on social media or not on my phone, I'm not making money.
Right.
My finances are so attached to like me being on my phone and me being on Instagram. So it's like crazy that I know it is draining, and I like find times to like not be on it. There'll even be situations where I'm like, I'm not going to post any stories of this. I just want this for myself. And like that's something that I've really had to develop over time because it's almost like with social media, the more you show, the faster you grow. Right. So it's like I really had to start establishing like I'm growing into my womanhood. Like I need me time sometimes, and it's not everything's not meant to be shared.
Right.
And that's something that I really had to like set that boundary up for myself because your phone's always in your hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I really had to be like, your phone's in your hand, but it's not a part of the situation right now.
Yeah.
Like that's in case someone needs to contact you, not for you to just be mindlessly on. And I feel like people don't really catch themselves when they're just mindlessly scrolling.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, like I've been there, I've done that. And also too, like even with my business, with the lack of posting or, doing stories, like the income definitely decreases. Like you have to stay active. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, how can I bring a stream of income in that isn't going to necessarily keep me, stuck just doing social media and like really like glued to my phone? And I think that's like why, like, even like with my Reiki practice. It's still very new, but it's something I can, like, you know, kind of like separate myself from and really just like regain my energy and just like focus on that. And, you know, it's more of like a word of mouth type of thing right now. And, you know, of course, like my social media presence has to be there in order for the business to grow. But am I on my phone as much as I used to?
No.
Absolutely not.
When did you start practicing Reiki on other people?
More so recently. I got certified like right after I did, actually during my ayahuasca experience, beginning of December, I started my Reiki journey. So as of now, I've only done it on a few select people, and it's been very moving for them. Each person that I've done it on, they've like, you know, started to cry, or like it brought up, you know, things from their past that they wanted to work on. And, you know, it was something that was very gratifying for me to see a reaction. And now it's like, now that I'm going to be really focusing on that, like I'm going to be doing it on a lot more people.
What was the hardest thing that you had to go through with learning learning it?
Really, the hardest thing about learning it was really coming to facing a lot of my traumas from my past, because it did bring a lot of like self-healing. It wasn't just, you know, oh, I'm gonna do Reiki, I'm gonna, you know, start a business from this just to help other people. No, it like really helped me as a person.
That makes sense.
And it brought up a lot of things that, you know, I still need to heal from.
That's amazing. Let me check time. Okay, good. So if you could plan like your perfect retreat, what would it be?
I would say it would consist of, my first retreat would just be all women. I feel like, you know, really embracing that like goddess energy as a group is really empowering. We would probably be in a tropical place, maybe like Peru or like Costa Rica, or even Joshua Tree, more in like a desert setting. And I would keep it like a smaller group, maybe like 10 people at most. It would involve a lot of sound healing, meditation, all vegan food. And we would just really, you know, work on like journaling. We would do cacao ceremonies, and I would even like to do like a shroom ceremony as well, like bring that plant medicine into it. And probably have it be like a few days, like a couple days would be a good timing.
I feel like it's got to be a few days.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're like going to do the diet that like you're supposed to be doing to be pure enough to...
Exactly. I know that's like the one thing with the ayahuasca. It was like a whole month before. It was definitely very...
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Month before and then a month after.
That's intense. What were you allowed to eat?
So you could not eat a lot of meat. Obviously no processed foods. That was easy for me because I've been vegetarian my whole life, so that was no problem. No sex, no masturbation, no listening to music that was like provocative or like bad language, watching TV shows that were, you know, similar concept. Obviously no drugs, alcohol. You couldn't do weed like about a week beforehand. So it was definitely very, very intense.
Yeah, that's like a serious
cleanse,
like restriction cleanse.
Absolutely. But, you know, I have to say, like, when you go through a cleanse like that, it really brings the focus into your soul. And it was eye-opening.
What was the biggest lesson you learned
from that experience? I have to say it was to love myself more.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, especially from women.
Especially for women. Going into the ceremony, you know, you have to have an intention going in. And mine was definitely to heal from, you know, sexual trauma, relationships, really get back to my goddess energy. And, you know, especially with my womb and everything, like I wanted to heal from things. And it was hard. Like I definitely had to learn to love myself and accept who I was. And it was very, very empowering.
You're like, and this was the time that it happened.
This is what changed everything.
So what took you from like, I love rocks to like, I love like, I mean, it's kind of the metaphysical.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I mean, you have to think about it. So crystals are a tangible item that you can hold that really connects with Mother Nature and energy. Mm-hmm. And why not incorporate it with actual healing energy? Because everything's energy.
Yep.
And that's like that why tattoo. Yeah, exactly. And that's like why like I wanted to combine everything together. And it's really cool too because during Reiki I do incorporate crystal healing as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So you do it at your house, I'm assuming?
House, and then also too, like if I had a house call for private clients, I would go to their house.
And that's just word of mouth.
Word of mouth right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Me and my best friend right now, we are starting a business called The Astral Divine.
Oh, wow.
And we are going to start incorporating like meditation, sound healing, Reiki, and then also be doing retreats as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When do you think you're going to have your first one?
Hopefully by the beginning of the year. Right now, we just have a lot of planning to do. And then, of course, like start on marketing, things like that.
100%. You could probably get a lot of sponsors for that as well in the different spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. We can keep it local, which will be nice.
Literally. You could caravan the whole thing down to Joshua Tree.
Yeah. Or even, too, like in Malibu. Malibu would be a beautiful place to do it.
Literally. That'd be beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
Just hear waves crashing while you're going through it.
That would be nice. Yeah, and I think, you know, doing like the meditations and the sound healing, that is something that we could easily do at the beach since we're so close.
Definitely. I love doing like meditations on the beach and being on shrooms at the beach. I just feel like so connected.
I like to do it at nighttime. Connected.
I feel like you can't see.
But that's the thing. That's like, I feel scary. Like I'm more like woke, like during, like I have horrible vision. Like I have pretty eyes, but my eyes don't work. But I feel like, you know, when I'm on shrooms at night, it's like everything's magnified. I'm like literally in the stars. Like I'm so connected. And that's like why I would rather even do it like nighttime versus daytime.
That's crazy. I love the daytime.
Daytime too, but like, you know, you can see like the trees breathing.
That's what I like. That's what I loved. I used to get scared doing it at night, literally. But I also have like a low-key fear of the dark. Like
oh, see, like bit. Me, like I could just like, I remember, you know, one of my friends, him and I did it here in LA, and it was a full moon night, and we decided to like lay in the grass looking at the full moon. Trees were surrounding us, and I swear to you, like the wind was like talking to us, and I felt so connected to the moon at the time. Like I was just like on it.
I love doing it in a full moon or around it.
Same.
I've never done it during Mercury in retrograde on purpose. I may have done it accidentally, not knowing that it was Mercury in retrograde, but
I recently did it in Joshua Tree, and it was at nighttime, of course, and I definitely felt still very, very connected. It wasn't, I did notice that during the Mercury retrograde that I was not as talkative as I normally would be. Mm-hmm. I was very quiet. Like I didn't want to talk to I didn't want to talk to anybody at the time.
That makes sense. I mean, Mercury in retrograde is a time where everything slows down before you jump forward. So it makes sense that you were like being more introspective during that time than being like outwardly social and everything during it, because it usually is a socializer, like real aggressively.
Yeah.
Like people that are like super quiet and shy will suddenly be like the life of the party. Yeah. And like where did that come from? And that's why I like it so much more than like I will take something from the ground before anything made in a lab any day. And like, I feel like if people just did like shrooms instead of Coke, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely. I mean, I actually seen that LA has their first ketamine clinic.
Yeah.
I just saw that. It just recently opened.
That's crazy to me.
Crazy to me too.
Because that's like still very much definitely a drug in my mind.
It is, and I'm not too familiar with like the the makeup of
behind it.
Yeah, but I mean, is it a lab
Horse
made?
tranquilizer, I believe.
It's a lab made.
It's a lab made product. I think so.
See, why wouldn't they have shroom clinics?
I don't know. I feel like because once you legalize something that people can grow themselves, it becomes a whole different situation for pharmaceutical companies. And
Absolutely.
it's easy to kind of manage something that has to come from the lab, because at some point you need to get those products. So at some point they're going to get paid. But if you can just literally grow a shroom in your backyard, you could have an entire business that the government knows nothing about.
Absolutely.
And that's what's scary.
It'll be definitely interesting to see like how well the ketamine clinic thrives.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that. I've heard a lot of positive things. I've heard not really negative things, but just like judgmental things, and like definitely some weird things about it. Like I haven't made up my mind about it, to be quite honest. Like I don't really know, but I feel like if something's helping people, then like if you really need that help and that's helping you, then by all means.
Yeah, and especially like since it's really targeting helping with like a lot of like mental illnesses, like that's something that we do really need. And I'm excited to see like how it progresses. And me personally, I've never done it. So I'm not too sure what it's like exactly, but it'll be cool to see how it plays out.
I think it's because I've only seen it done in a recreational way. I've never personally done it, but like I've only seen it done in a recreational way. So I'm like, that's a drug.
Exactly.
That's definitely a drug. Well, like so is fucking Adderall. Like that is a controlled amount of methamphetamines. Like that's just what it is. So to me, I'm like, that's just the stigma. It's like the whole like, oh, I can drink like a cow's milk, but like don't give me goat milk, or like don't give me like milk from any other animal because that's disgusting. But like I can drink a cow's milk. I don't know who decided like that wasn't nasty, but everything else was. Like, would you drink like a woman's breast milk? Like,
right.
That's literally the cows are making it for their kids, not for us. Yeah. So like, same thing.
That's funny.
Are you completely plant-based or just vegetarian?
So I've been vegetarian my whole entire life, since I was really little.
Like since I was born.
Yeah, essentially since I was born. I am now going full vegan, mainly for the reason, like, trust me, I love cheese. I like to get an In-N-Out grilled cheese sometimes with animal style fries. But on the other hand, cheese just like upsets my stomach very badly. I don't even remember the last time I had milk. I don't eat ice cream. Even just like having like a slice or two of cheese makes me extremely sick. And
I feel like it probably has gotten worse since you cut it out.
It's gotten worse. Like, exactly. Like, it's gotten worse, like, since I started cutting it out and like incorporated more vegan cheese. But even too with like vegan cheese, it's not necessarily the best for you. So it's something that I would rather just stay away from altogether.
That's anytime anyone's like, it's so expensive to be vegan, I'm like, you're buying the prepackaged shit.
Exactly.
Because vegetables are not, a thing of lentils and lettuce and some protein pasta is not that expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you would be surprised, like, a lot of people do say, like, being vegan is expensive, but, support your, like, local farmers markets. And, to be honest, like, a lot of that produce is much cheaper than going to the grocery store.
And cheaper than meat.
Exactly. And that's, like, why, like, I like to buy a lot of my produce at the farmer's market. I, like, stock up for the week, and then, like, that next week I just
do it all again.
Exactly. Do it all over again.
Do you juice?
I do. Yes.
I'm like, you strike me as a juicer.
Definitely juice. That's something that newly started. I was dating this guy that was like our thing. Like, we would juice like, every single. Exactly. That was like one of our favorite activities to do together.
I was gonna say couples that juice together, but
yeah.
Not that one. So I guess don't juice together. Makes you a little bit gassy, I'm sure.
That's so funny. But yeah, I juice, love smoothies. But yeah, that is something that I do like to do.
The craziest diet I think I've ever been on was like I went all liquid and I was doing like just smoothies and soups, and I was like, this isn't really a diet. Like I just kind of like this. Like I like the light feeling that I have of like not really eating meat, because it was all vegetarian what I was eating. And I literally just last week did a vegan week that I was like, I'm gonna be vegan the whole week. And it was amazing, and I felt great. And I went away for the weekend to a wedding, and there were like no vegan options. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not like a vegan. Like, I just did a vegan week. Like, I'm not going to be the difficult person. And I felt so bad after like eating that stuff. And I literally came back and got a lymphatic drainage massage, and was like, oh, like, thank God.
Probably
like,
felt so sick.
So bad. Just like not even sick, just like heavy. Like I've forgotten like what it was like to like eat a lot of meat like that and feel heavy. And like honestly, like I'll probably eat meat here and there, especially when like traveling, but anything I can control myself, like in my house, I'm probably gonna remain vegan, because it's just like I feel physically better.
You do, and it's like
I wanted to test that.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, you know, for people, like something that I don't recommend for people that like want to go vegan like right away, don't just like cold turkey it, because if you do that, like you'll start to notice like, you know, fatigue, you know, you'll break out. Like it's something that it's okay to like have it like a gradual transition. I mean, that would be like just like me saying like, oh, hey, like, you know, I'm vegetarian my whole life and then I'm going to go eat meat. No, like I would probably be hospitalized.
You would probably throw up
sick.
immediately. Like immediately.
Exactly.
Like within a 5-minute drive.
I don't even want to like, you know, it's funny, like I have to say like the smell of meat does smell good, but do I have any desire to eat it? No.
I think the shit that will always get me will be bacon. I love bacon and it sucks. That's what broke I was a pescatarian for like almost 10 years, and what broke it was bacon. I was like, I mean,
trust me, the smell of it smells amazing.
Bacon smells so good. But there are alternatives.
There are. I know, like in the vegan, like they have this like coconut bacon. It's actually pretty good. Doesn't like necessarily like smell like bacon.
Did you just say coconut bacon?
Yeah.
See, I don't think I'm ever going to be that vegan.
Good.
That's a different level of veganism. I don't know if I could reach that. Convincing myself that a coconut should even have bacon in the naming next to it. Like, who would want coconut bacon? It's really good. That good?
It is.
That's wild.
Like jackfruit, that's like something that's also really popular for like a meat alternative. The texture it's very like tough. I mean, jackfruit is a fruit, but tastes so good.
It is pretty fucking good.
See?
100%. But please let the people know one more time, like anything you want to promote, your websites, any social media platforms you're on.
Yeah, definitely, you know, on Instagram, my crystal company is The Earth's Gems. And then my Reiki and sound healing meditation company, it's the Astral Divine.
Awesome. And what is yours?
Oh, mine is, it's X Megan, MEGAN _ Leanne, LEANNX.
Hell yeah. And as per usual, I am Tori 212 Green on all platforms. Tea with Tori podcast on Instagram. And please check out her amazing Q&A that will be on teawithtori.com. And I will see you spillers next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.